Hello everyone, this is a review of the new Star Wars Vintage Collection, Luke's X-34 Landspeeder. Right off the bat, my first impressions of this are very positive. It's a really good looking model. The paint apps and the sculpt are pretty top notch. One of the biggest complaints I've heard about this is the paint decals and the paint job not being super accurate to the prop in the movie, but from what I know, there were two props because the original movie was filming in two different countries, and each country had a different prop for the Landspeeder and they were painted slightly differently with different colors, I believe, and possibly slightly different decals. But either way, most of the Landspeeders that have been made in the past have been based off of one specific prop from the movie, and this one is based off of the different one. So the paint decals aren't what you would usually see for the Landspeeder, but either way, technically it is accurate because both versions of the prop do appear in the movie. I believe that this version is based off of what we see in the more long distance shots, and the closer up shots had a different prop, and usually that's what the Landspeeders are based off of, but I believe this one is based off of the other one. Either way, technically it is accurate. But that being said, let's get in and take a closer look. I'm going to take Luke out for the time being and get you close up to these really nice details. These scratches, the silver is, as you can see, beautifully painted on, but they're also textured, so that's just sculpted into. It's not just painted, so that just looks all really nice. Some mesh detail for the engine covers right here, and you'll see those silver scratches just kind of painted all throughout. Not every single one is sculpted, but the really big ones like this one are sculpted. A slight fade to black in this corner right here, so that looks nice. Here's the front. The front is very impressive looking. Lots of wash on there. It looks very dirty, very old, very beat up. This right here is a giant dent that's sculpted in. It feels very, very realistic. Just painted really nice overall. I'll show you the inside of the engine. All you gotta do is just lift this up like that, and then inside is a very, very nice looking engine. Lots of detail in there. Not too much paint. You can see just the base mold gray, and then some lighter silver, and then some beige kind of cream painted in there. There's some red for the wires up here, but overall the sculpt is just really intricate. It looks really nice, and then it kind of, if you can get it in the right spot, it'll stay up. You kind of have to find the right tension and it'll stay up on its own, but then as you can see, it'll just fall over eventually. This little detail spins around. I'm not sure why. Maybe it spins in the movie. I don't know off the top of my head, but it's pretty loose either way. And here's the other side with the cover to this engine taken off, so we get some nice detail on the wires there. Different paint colors in there, some gold, red, silver. It all looks really cool. Some more silver. Here's a quick look at the back. Inside here, pretty simple looking driver's seat and whatnot. Some good looking panels in there. This big lever controls the wheels underneath. So there's some clear, springy wheels. Those just kind of give you like the hover effect, like it's slightly hovering off the ground, and then it's very springy. And then if you want to bring those up, you just pull in this lever, and then they go up into the body like that. Also, by the way, there's a quick look at the bottom. Really not much going on, some sculpt, but that's it, no paint or anything. But then press the lever forward again and they'll pop out. It's a little aggressive, like that, it's pretty loud, but then the wheels pop out, just like that. There is a little compartment back here where I have some of the accessories stored. I'll give you guys a closer look at those in a second, but yeah, not much detail going on in there. Overall, it's just a really nice looking model, and there's a little clip right here for the hunting rifle as well. It kind of moves around if you hit it, but I mean, if you don't really directly touch it, it'll just stay right there. It's a pretty strong clip. I have to grab it kind of right up next to the clip, take it out. Otherwise, if you're kind of grabbing it towards the ends to lift it up, it really bends. It feels like it's going to snap it. So don't grab it towards the ends, grab it right next to the clip and then pull it out like that, or else you might snap it. But while we're here, there's just a quick look at the hunting rifle. I'm actually impressed that they painted some of these really small details. Usually, like on the vintage collection, you wouldn't see details painted that small, but they did, and it looks really nice. So I'll give you a closer look at the figure next. So here is your Luke. This is your standard farm boy Luke outfit and stuff for New Hope. Soft goods on the bottom piece of the tunic only, so the legs can spread out. His binoculars just fell off. They aren't plugged in really well, but I'll just give you a little look at those. Again, some really small painted details, which is nice on the binoculars. I know there's an in-universe name for these. They're called something else. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but I'll put it on screen right now. Either way, he has some holes in his belt, and you can kind of just put it in like that. And overall, I mean, it stays in, but if you just kind of knock it off with your finger, it's kind of easy. But he has that, and then he has this little thing. I don't know what this is off the top of my head. I want to say some sort of communicator. I think he uses this to contact 3PO when they're in the trash compactor. But that plugs in right there. And then another thing just fell off his belt, and that's just this little pouch right here. So if you knock it off or get close to it with your finger, you'll probably knock it off. But some nice silver painted on there. Sculpt and everything's just pretty standard. There's not much to be painted on this outfit because it's all just white or beige, but the head sculpt looks really nice. Very accurate to Mark Hamill's face. And then he has kind of a wash in the hair to get that dirty blonde look. So that looks really good too. Articulation, obviously a ball joint on the head. Doesn't look forward, doesn't really look back. Side to side a little bit. Arms go out like that, all the way around. One joint on the elbow. Wrist joint moves up and down. Does it actually move? There we go, yeah. Push it hard enough, it'll move down, it seems like, but it won't move up. Well, that's as far up as you'll get it. I mean, you don't really need crazy hand joints or hand articulation for this figure anyways, but yeah. Legs kick out that far thanks to the soft goods, so you can actually get him sitting down pretty easily in the Landspeeder. They move out like that. Single joint, moves in a little bit past 90 degrees for the knee, spins all the way around. Is there a thigh cut? There is a thigh cut as well. No boot cut. And then feet point down like that, go up like that, and then your standard ankle pivot. Next accessories, I believe, are exclusive to this figure. I don't think you can get another Farm Boy Luke with the hat and the poncho, but here's the hat. It is sculpted to just sit on pretty nicely like that. And then you get a soft goods poncho, which goes on him. It's a little difficult, but you can get the hang of it. Slips over his head like that, and then the difficult part are the arms. You kind of got to spread them out like that, and then stretch the fabric in there, and you'll find an armhole. Same thing on the other side. Goes in, nope. Goes in like that, I believe. There we go. And then you got the poncho on him. I think it's going to rip a little bit no matter what, because the hole wasn't this big for the head at first. But then once you put the head in and you start stretching it, it's gonna rip a little bit. I've seen another YouTuber review this figure and it did the same thing. So that's just what you gotta live with. But looks good. Either way, the color on the packaging looks a bit different. The outline looks a bit more maroon, I wanna say, on the package, but it's just a grayish brown in real life. But I don't believe he wears this at any point during the actual movie, or the hat, but he wears the poncho and the hat, I believe, in a couple of promotional images, I want to say. So just some promotional photos that were taken, or maybe behind the scenes photos. I just know that you don't see him actually wear it in the final cut of the movie. It's a pretty cool inclusion, a little just Easter egg to some behind the scenes or some promotional photos, whatever. It's cool. It makes the figure a bit more exclusive and different than just any other Farm Boy Luke you can find out there. So yeah, that's about it for the figure and the accessories. I'm going to give you guys a closer look at the package now. So here's one side of the box with a really cool picture of a diorama. It is my goal to get these figures at some point in the future to recreate this diorama myself. I think it will just look really cool. And then in the corner it just shows Luke Skywalker included. Switching over to the other side, more of a simple kind of display going on there. This one looks way more retro, I think, so that looks pretty cool. Here's the top. I really like the orange and the yellows they have going on. It feels very retro, very vintage, very like Tatooine sunset. I think it's pretty cool. Here is another side showing the engine details, and then the last side right here. And here's the figure packaging. Unpunched card for those who collect in box. And then here's a quick look at the back. The little read up. More of that really nice kind of retro vintage orange. I really dig that. And then he is VC344A. overall, this is a really good model. As you can see, it looks really nice against the Tatooine backdrop. You can do a lot of good photography with this, add it to some dioramas, whatever you want to do. I really can't think of many downsides to this. Obviously, you can always say that, you know, it's too expensive or whatever. That's always going to be a complaint for some people. But I think in terms of like actual like functional or like aesthetic complaints, I don't really have any. It looks really good and it functions the way it needs to. Paint apps and sculpt are top notch. It comes with a really good figure. The figure comes with a lot of nice accessories. I think overall, you know, it's just a really good release. Anyways, that's gonna do it for this review. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.